Hello there, welcome to this video with the camera on the right side because I'm focusing on improvisation on the song I Love You by Cole Porter. Requested, that's why it's happening. So anything I talk about in this video about improvisation applies to any song. So it's not about the song, it's very much the principles of the right hand in improvisation. I can recommend that you can find this song on jazzstudies.us, that's free lead sheets. Or you can just find the chords by ear. Goodness me. Transcribing is very important. But very quickly, just so you have the chords in your brain. G half diminished, G7 flat 9 in versions, F major 7, and there's a couple of versions here because you need to kill sort of 2 bars here. So you can either stay on there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then play a D7, sharp 9, and then go to 2, 5, 1, now G minor 7 without the flat 5, C7, F major 7, and then the same kind of thing happens again. So one version, like I say, is to play the D sharp 9, or you can just go up to B flat major 7 for 2 beats, down to A half diminished, and then to that D chord. Your choice. Anyway, these are the kind of chords that we're dealing with, and there's a little bit in the middle where it does a B, it does a 2-5-1 onto the 3, onto A, which is very nice floating 2-5-1. B half diminished, E7, I'm playing a flat 5 because it sounds nice, but you can put a sharp 9 in it. All these nice chords. Onto A major 7, put a 9 in it if you want. And it does that twice. So the first one is B half diminished, E7, flat 5 I'm doing, A major 7, and then the second time around it's just B minor 7, E7 sharp 9, whatever you want. Or just regular E7, E9, and then A major 7 again, and then it will drop to minor 7 to D7, and then back to the whole concept. These are the kind of chords we're dealing with. So a half diminished chord contains almost all the notes from the blues scale. So here's one thing to do. One thing is the pool of notes, and the other thing is what you do with them. What you do with them is the most important thing, because you can just play with 3 notes. But someone can play them in a really boring way, and someone can play them with a really nice feel. They're playing with the notes. There's a dynamic. There's an animation to them. There's a lilt. There's a playfulness. There's a rhythm. There's a delay. There's silence as well. Silence is a note. Whereas other people just play them very boringly. So if you listen a lot, you'll find which things sound animated and interesting. So of course, Bill Evans, Oscar Peterson, I'll link a version to his version of this song below, which is absolutely ridiculous, especially the solo, that's what I mean. It's unbelievable. And it's been transcribed as well, so you can study it, which I haven't done, I just saw it. So the first thing, of course, like I say, is notes of interest. No, is notes of the chord. Second thing is notes of interest. So we're dealing with G. You can just play the notes of the chord. It happens to have the notes of the G blues scale in it, which is useful for a half diminished, but the first thing is to play notes of the chord. So, there's your 4 notes. That's the first thing. The second thing is to add notes of interest, which is the most important one is the 9. And then it's the flat 5, which can also be called a sharp 11 with major 7 chord types, and the 6 or the 13. So if you want to find them quickly, you just call it 2. Flat 5 or sharp 11 and 6 or 13, but it's easier to find them if you just label it as 2 and 6. But remember that you're really playing a 9 and a 13 in theory, in jazz anyway. So, and then the third thing is connecting notes, passing tones. And this comes from 25 years of listening to jazz and reading transcriptions and studying this stuff. And I'm telling you, about 70% is notes of the chord. Maybe 20%, maybe a bit more, 25% is notes of interest, mainly the 3 I've just said. And then the 5%-ish is passing tones, meaning if you want to go from like B to E, you don't just go, okay, fine, but why not go like that, make it a bit more interesting, or go like that, or just do these little bits, these fiddly bits. It's called ornamentation. It just makes it a bit more interesting. And those notes, it doesn't matter what key or scale they're in. You just play them as passing tones and they work thanks to context, so you don't question them too much. So each of these chords is 1 bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to keep it simple. And then I'd just say go straight to the 5 of G minor 7. So that's a D sharp 9, 3, 7, sharp 9, E sharp. That's just for the left hand, but we're focusing on the right hand. But they're the chords I'm thinking about. So I'm thinking notes of the chord, first of all, but I'm also thinking blues scale notes, for example, in the key of G, the blues scale. Well, you know, a blues scale is based on a minor 7 flat 5 chord. Minor, flat 5, 7, it's all there. So you could just start with a blues scale. Bit boring, but it's a safe place to begin. But like I say, notes of the chord, which is almost the blues scale itself. But how about you make that interesting? Play around, do little patterns, use space, use repetitive ideas, use more than one octave. So we just got, all we have is just 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all I'm thinking about in my mind, just this. So I might start on the, don't always start on the root note, on the G, it's really boring. So I might start on the 7, so I might just go like that. So I'm using 2 octaves here, I'm seeing this one here and then the same chord up here. So I might just go, I don't know what I did, I don't remember. Which is the whole point, I have no idea. I'm not paying attention, I'm not even trying to remember. It's like a reflection on a lake, you know, it's just birds flying over a lake, you know, the reflection is there and then it isn't. And the water doesn't even try to remember the reflection. So it's like that. So something like that. Well, I should have played D flat rather. That's quite funny. That's a nice one. That's nice, I like that. I'm trying to remember it on purpose here to demonstrate it. Now, would you have thought about doing that? Maybe grace note on the G flat? That's nice. So maybe we can actually create and like compose an improvisation. Now we're on to the C. Of course, the bass player is going to define the key of C, so it's going to sound like, it's not going to sound like G diminished, from half diminished to whole diminished. It's going to sound like G, half diminished, to C9. Sorry, to C flat 9, because of the D flat there, and the C in the bass. So because we're finishing on that, that's in the next chord, the B flat. So we could use the notes of the chord again, because at the moment I'm emphasizing notes of the chord, and then we're just going to go down that shape of that C sharp or D flat, E or G, the diminished groups, they all share the same notes. Don't want to knock over my camera. So where were we? So we've gone. That's nice. Now we're going to land on F major 7. That's not very nice. If you think about modal theory, the major 7 is the 1 of itself, or the fourth. So F is a fourth of C. And that's normally how you want to think about a major 7 chord, as the fourth mode, which is Lydian, because it gives you the sharp 11, because there's no B flat in the key of C. So when F is acting as the fourth of C, it gives us that B, which sounds really nice. It's a sharp 11, 8, 9, 10, 11, sharp. It's not a flat 5 in this context. Enharmonic equivalence. So that's quite nice, because then we're going to go from that B flat and just get that nice little slip up, which is lovely. So what we're going to do here, notes of the chord, but maybe now let's add a note of interest. This in a way is a note of interest already, the sharp 11. So let's jump out of the note of interest here into the notes of the chord, because we've still got like 2.5 bars to do it, and we'll just go on to the D sharp 9 just all the way at the end, even just 1 bar of this and 7 bars of the F major 7. And that's quite nice. So I'm coming out the chord, out of the note of interest, sorry, into the notes of the chord, and we've still got another 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to jump in at the end. But I want to put another note of interest. Let's put a 9, the G. So, oh, and another thing, actually, I played the wrong note there. Another thing is to, you can do things, Oscar Peterson does this a lot. He kind of goes, so you could do that kind of thing. Oh, notice how I did a little grace note there. I went, instead of going, I went, Oh, that's nice. Now we're going to jump out of it. Now on the 9, listen to that. Grace note, back up the notes. I don't know what bar we're on, but I'm just playing notes. That sounds really nice. I think of the timing, 2, 3, 4. I could have touched on the D one there, but now we're back onto G minor 7 this time. Not half the minute, but G minor 7. I think the last note I just played was a D. That's in the chord. Now let's do a nice little, like, not a motif, but like a pretty brush stroke, because I like comparing art, even though I'm not an artist, but it's just a nice way to describe playing, improvising, as a canvas with a brush. That was nice. Oh, that was even different. What did I do the first time? I don't remember. Maybe I can put an A in there for the 9. And I'm going to do the same thing on C7. Why? Because it sounds good. Because note values, note values, note values. 5, 11, minor, 9, all lovely notes of the chord with notes of interest. Same thing again in the key of C. 9, root, 7, 13. So you're playing the same notes, but they sound different in G. Different completely. So from the beginning-ish, I went, so it goes 2, 3. Do you see how it was a little bit different like next time? Because I put a little grace note in there. I hope my pedal doesn't get ruined in the middle of the video. Good. Sometimes it keeps the sustain on. So that's a pretty nice little thing going on there. Let's do some chromatic connection stuff now when it goes through the B half diminished. E7. As you can see that. You can just see the B, D, F, and A. E, G sharp, B flat, D. You have to label the notes correctly. It's not A sharp because I'm not playing a sharp 11. I'm playing a flat 5. And then we'll go to A major 7, A, C sharp, E, G sharp. So don't worry too much about the left hand. That's just the chords I'm going through. So notes of interest. So this is kind of fun. We could do some kind of chromatic run, but as the chord changes, the note values are going to change. So we might just do something like, I'm not playing completely chromatically. I'm going, so how many bars is it? 1, it's just 2 beats. And that, luckily, nicely, just I didn't plan that, ended on the G sharp, which is the major 7 of A. So that was quite nice. Lovely. And so, see how I put a bit more lilt with it that time? And let's start, instead of going on there, let's go down to it chromatically. Like that. I'll just play down the notes of A major 7. Touched on the 6 there, on the 13, back to the major 7. Lovely. Major 7. The 13 works nicely. So that's called a major 13. So A major 13, that was. You could put the B in there for the 9. So maybe do a quick chromatic run up to the 9. Maybe, or down to the 3rd. You just do what you want. So I went... something like that. Then it's going on to so A major 7. So like I did earlier, you just go... there's the 9, there's the 13, and there. Then it's going to go minor 7. So that D thing, and back to the almost the beginning melody again, but G minor 7 this time. So we just go on and on and on. So without the chords, you get what I'm saying, no? A nice exercise to practice all of this is to play non-stop with a lilt, with this kind of... with that kind of lilt, with a bit of space sometimes, and go over the chords to prove that you know the chords, because you can't improvise if you don't know what the next chord coming is. You can't, because you'll just stumble. So you might just kind of go, so it's going to be 4 beats each, and I'm going to go 2 beats per beat. So it's just like F, D. Oh, here I played a nice little lick on the D there, because it's part of the blues scale of D. You have to know all the blues scales. So I went, I don't know what the hell I did, but when I got to D, I went something like that quickly. I've learnt that kind of thing from Oscar Peterson. It just sounds nice. Another thing is, actually, before I forget, is that you can play, it sounds kind of funny, and it's the kind of thing Oscar Peterson would do as well. I don't know if he does it in this, but probably. You just play the F blues scale over everything. and that kind of works like 80% of the time. So if you just imagine you've got a nice like little thing going on with a band. And you've got all that going on in the background. You can just play the F blues scale. Obviously not that boringly, but you can just get away with just playing all the riffs. You know, because that becomes a sharp 11. Maybe not too much on the minor, but, you know, I'm talking about 90% plus. It just sounds quite funny. It's just a nice little thing to do as well. But yeah, try and get used to playing over any song, over any chord progression, just 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and just to force yourself to know what the next chord coming is. If you just take the simple 6-2-5-1, which we'll do in the key of F, so D minor 7, G minor 7, C7, F major 7, just improvise over it without even using the left hand. So I'm doing 1 bar each. I'm going. D minor 7, G minor 7, C7, F. Occasionally I'm putting a 9 in there, occasionally I'm putting a grace note in there, but I don't stop. It's just that kind of thing. You just get used to playing that kind of thing. You're just playing. I have no idea what I'm doing, to be honest. That's kind of the point. So I don't know. I hope that some of these ideas have been of use to you. I quite like the beginning, I must say. I don't even remember what it was. Something like that. See, I don't even remember what it was. And there's something going down there onto the sharp 11 of F, coming out of it, touching on the 9. And we went to D, didn't we? Did all that in G minor 7. When I say D, I mean the note, not the chord. G minor 7, touching on the 9 and the 11. Back when it goes to C, it becomes 9, root, flat 7, 13. Then you're on F, sharp 11. These are the kind of things that are going to make you sound really good when you're playing. Of course, there's lots of other techniques and stuff, but in terms of actual notes and ideas and ways of thinking, this is how you do it. This is how they do it. And I don't really think I have anything else to say on the matter, to be honest. So hopefully this video has been of use to you, and you'll be able to play along with your band I Love You by Cole Porter and impress them all. So there you go. As always, likes, comments, subscriptions are always welcome. Have a look at my video management website, Water, Pianos and Silvers, Patreon, and all my playlists and my podcast. And I'll see you in the next video. All the best, and bye for now.